Hello everyone. In today's video, I have a pattern review for you. And the pattern review is in preparation for the next video, which will be a sew along. I'm going to be reviewing Burda Style 6414. Now, I do understand that many of you do not like working with Burda patterns because they appear to be difficult to understand. So if you are a new beginner with basic sewing skills, then I want to walk you through this particular Burda pattern to help you understand a little bit better. So I'm going to walk you through the back of the envelope to show you how they give or share their information to prepare you for sewing the pattern. I'm going to walk you through the pattern instruction sheet, and I'm going to show you the notions that they suggest, as well as a couple of extras that I suggest for the sew along. So if you are interested and ready to check out a Burda pattern, let's jump right into it. Today's video is sponsored by my online sewing course, Learn to Sew, Mastering the Basics, where I teach brand new beginners how to do exactly that. Tap the link in the description box to get more details. Okay, before we get into the pattern, let's take a look at the finished garment. So this is the dress. It has an oversized loose-fitting bodice with an elastic waist attaching it to the skirt. You can see the drape on the armhole. The armhole opening is pretty large, so if that makes you uncomfortable, you can wear a tank underneath. The skirt is a semi-fitted slim skirt with a slit on one side, or you can add a slit on both sides, whatever you choose. It's a very basic skirt, very pretty. You can dress it up or down. Okay, let's take a look at the pattern envelope. We have the two versions, the maxi length and the knee length. The only difference between the bodices is that view B has the ties at the shoulder. And then here on the front of the envelope, they have the line drawings for the front and the back. And then you'll know it's the back if it's in gray. They always put the back of the garment in gray. And then when you turn it over to the back, here are the differences that you will notice from the other big brand companies. And I'm going to bring over a McCall's pattern. So with Burda, they have their measurements, their finished garment measurements here with the line drawings. And with the other companies, they have the finished garment measurements here at the bottom listed. So to find out what the finished garment length is for the skirt, they show you here where you see the arrows. So you have the arrow pointing down to the hem, and then this arrow pointing up to the waist. So that lets you know that the length of the skirt, the finished skirt, is 39.5 inches. Now, it doesn't tell you what the finished measurement is for the bodice. So you can measure from your waist down to the hem on your body to see if this length will work for you. Okay, and then for the hip measurement, the widest measurement, they give you this little symbol, the circle, the oval with the arrow, and then they tell you the hip measurements that are included in this pattern. Now, when you look at the front piece of the skirt front pattern piece, it will tell you what the finished measurement is for the different sizes. Now for the fabric, you will see a picture of the fabric boat, and then they will list the fabrics that they recommend here. So the only fabric that they're recommending is jersey on this pattern. Now here on the other companies, they will give you the suggested fabrics listed out here. And then for the notions, here on the Burda pattern, they give you pictures. So this is a picture of elastic, and you will know that because it has that little zigzag with the broken lines. So it tells you how long your elastic will be based on the size that you're cutting. And then it tells you how wide the elastic needs to be. So for this one, we will need 3/8 inch wide elastic. And then the other notion that they are recommending is a twin needle, if you're going to be using that to hem your garment. On the other big brand patterns, they will give you the notions list down here. Okay? Okay, I want to take a closer look at the notions, starting with the twin needle. If you will be using a twin needle to hem your garment, I recommend a size 480. If you have a jersey twin needle, that's perfect. But if you don't, a universal twin needle will work just fine. I recommend size 480 because it's the perfect size for the neckline and the sleeve hems. So if you're going to be using that, fine. For the sew along, I will be using my cover stitch machine. But if you don't have a cover stitch machine, you will just change out your needle on your regular sewing machine and replace it with your twin needle. The elastic, as I mentioned earlier, is 3/8 of an inch, and I purchased mine from Wawac. Wawac is an amazing company that has almost any sewing notion that you can imagine, and they have really good prices and amazing customer service. So that's why I purchased mine. I purchased it in bulk, and it comes on these rolls. I have larger rolls with different sizes. In addition to those two notions that they recommend, I'm also going to recommend that you get some type of stabilizer for the shoulders. We're going to be stabilizing the shoulders to make sure that they don't stretch out of shape. And I used hem tape. And this is a woven tape. You can use woven. It doesn't have to be stretched because we're not concerned about the shoulder area stretching. We're trying to prevent that. So I'm using just a regular hem tape. So if you want to purchase that, you can purchase any type of hem tape. You can also use an interfacing and just press it onto the shoulder seam, or along the seam line at the shoulders. So I'm going to demonstrate attaching the hem tape onto the back seam allowance at the shoulder. I'm also recommending interfacing for your hem and slit area. Because we're working with knit fabric, we want to make sure that those areas are not stretching when we're sewing. A lot of times, if you are using a very stretchy knit fabric, it will stretch out of shape when you're hemming your garment. To prevent that from happening, we stabilize that area, and we're going to do the same thing for the slit. So I will show you how I cut strips of interfacing to stabilize my hems and the slit. So those are some of the differences between the two patterns, and then I'm going to go inside on the pattern instruction sheet and also on the pattern tissue to show you where the layouts are, because with Burda patterns, they don't give you the pattern or the pattern layout for cutting your fabric on the instruction sheet. They give you the layout on the tissue paper. So let's take a look. So this is where you will find your fabric layout. There will be a portion on your tissue papers where you will find this. So make sure you don't throw this away when you're cutting out your pattern pieces. So you get to choose which layout that you're going to use, and it will tell you which one it is based on the width of your fabric and then the sizes. So I'm going with the 55-inch width, and I'm sewing view A. So let me just turn this around. So this rectangle represents the fabric, and you can tell that it's laid out on a single layer because there's no indication that there's a fold here. So you're going to be laying your pattern pieces out flat and then flipping them to get the full pattern piece. Now, if your fabric is wide enough, you will be able to cut on the fold. The bodice, all four pieces actually, the bodice front and back, and then the skirt front and back, they are cut on the fold, but they have the layout on a single layer. I actually folded my fabric, and I'll show you that in a little bit. So you can decide based on the width of your fabric if you want to lay it out single layer or if you want to fold it. One alteration that I did make for my dress is I raised the slit. The slit wasn't long enough for me to walk comfortably, so I measured up 5 inches and just clipped a notch where you see that line on the left side, and that gave me the amount of room that I wanted to walk. If you want your slit higher, you can make the adjustment. Okay, so here we have the pattern instructions, and you will see we have the line drawings just like with the other companies, and then here is a list of all of the pattern pieces. I always like to highlight the pieces that I'm going to cut. So these are the 5 pieces that I'm going to be needing. And then here you have all of the basic information that you will get with any pattern, all of the information that you will need. And then the instructions start down below, and they are numbered. The written instructions are numbered, and those numbers coincide with the line drawings to help you along the process. So this is all pretty basic. It's the same that we see, or the same type of instruction that we see with other patterns. Now, I will not be following all of the instructions in the order that they are printed here. And there are some things that I'm not going to follow. So if you want to, you can read the instructions and follow along, but just keep in mind that I'm going to be skipping around and doing things a little differently to simplify the process. Okay, and then over on the other side, there are more instructions with the line drawings. Okay, let's take a look at some of the fabric options. The pattern is designed for stretch knits and they recommend jersey. So this is the fabric that I used. It's a tie-dye rib knit, and what I like most about it is the drape. You can see as I'm manipulating the fabric how it moves. It's lightweight and very soft against the body. So this is a good choice. If you're a new beginner, I wouldn't recommend this though because it's kind of slinky. The size I cut calls for 2.5 yards. I purchased 3 yards because I always purchase extra even though knit doesn't shrink in the wash. You want to get extra just in case you make a mistake on layout. This next fabric is a jersey knit, and this is the type of fabric that they recommend. It has a nice drape. You can see the movement on that one. Very comfortable against the body, so this is a good choice too. This next fabric is a waffle knit, and I think this one would be nice for a house dress. So if you're going to be making the dress to lounge around the house, something that you're just going to kick it around in, then this is a good choice. It's very lightweight, very soft against the body. And you can see that it does have a decent amount of drape, but it is a little see-through. So if you're going to be wearing it out, you may want to wear something underneath, but just lounging around the house should be fine. And this last one is called a point tail knit. It's like a lightweight sweater knit. I love this fabric. I've worked with it before. It's easy to sew and it feels so soft and comfortable against the body. And as you can see, it has a nice amount of drape. I would actually use this fabric to make the dress for a special occasion or some special event. It would look beautiful with this dress. And here I am wearing the dress. I love everything about it. The fit is so good. Very comfortable, classy, elegant, chic, all of that. You can dress it up or down. I've dressed it up with a pair of heels here, or you can dress it down with a pair of flip-flops. I've done that and it looks just as beautiful. Here you can see how that bodice drapes under the arms. So pretty. I love the colors. Absolutely beautiful. Very springy, very appropriate for summer because the fabric is very lightweight, and you know I had to throw on a big floppy hat, and that just takes it up a notch, baby. Ooh, so cute with my matching purse. Yes, I'm ready for anything. Where are we going? I'm ready, baby. So beautiful. I love this dress, and I'm gonna get a whole lot of wear from it. Absolutely beautiful. Will you be sewing it? You've been inspired, you've been encouraged, you've watched other women sew their own garments, and you've said to yourself, I want to learn how to sew. Who's going to teach me? Well, I have exactly what you need. An online sewing course called Learn to Sew, Mastering the Basics, where I teach you, the new beginner, the person who has never even touched a sewing machine before, how to sew your own garments. And what's special about my course is I take you from beginning to end, start to finish, step by step with lots of details so that you don't get lost in the process. In this course, I teach you what type of needle to use based on your fabric choice. You will learn how to use the different cutting tools for your projects and how to sew a proper stitch based on the fabric that you're using. We take you into the fabric store and show you how to choose your fabrics and what happens at the cutting table when you purchase your fabric. You will learn how to lay out your pattern pieces onto your fabric and how to cut into that fabric for success. And of course, we show you how to use a sewing machine from beginning to end. This and so much more is waiting for you inside of my course, Learn to Sew, Mastering the Basics. Tap the link in the description box to get started. Okay, now that you have checked out this particular Burda pattern, what are you thinking? Do you think you can follow along with me to sew this dress? I do. I think you can do it. And for those of you who have gone through my online sewing course, you are fully equipped to sew this dress. So we're going to jump into it, but here's what I need you to do before the sew along. There is a link in my description box for a sewing project checklist. I want you to go grab that checklist because it's going to prepare you to get everything that you need prepared in advance for the sew along. And this checklist you can use with any project. I love to make sure that I have everything set up before I start my projects to streamline the process. So grab the checklist, get all of your supplies, your fabric, your pattern, everything that you need, and join me in the next video for the sew along. I'll see you guys then. Bye-bye.